How to build a character your readers can't forget. Think about the last fictional character you couldn't stop thinking about after you finished the book. I'd bet they weren't memorable because of how they looked. Not because of their job, or their backstory, or even the things they said. They were memorable because of what they wanted, and the way that want was constantly getting in their own way. Today we're talking about how to build characters like that from scratch. Welcome back to the Story Forge. If you are new here, this channel is about practical craft. The tools and thinking that help you write a book that actually works. Last week we talked about why most novels fail and how starting with the ending changes everything. Today we go deep on character. Let's get into it. Here is how most people build their main character. They decide what the character looks like. They give them a job, maybe a fun hobby, a city they live in, a tragic backstory. They can reference whenever things get emotional, and then they wonder why the character feels flat on the page. Here is the problem. All of that is description. None of it is psychology. Readers don't connect to descriptions. They connect to desires and contradictions. They connect to characters who want something so badly that it makes them do things that don't entirely make sense. Characters who are recognizably human because of their flaws, not despite them. The most memorable characters in fiction aren't perfect. They're specific. And that specificity almost always comes from one thing. I want to give you a 4-part framework for building any character. Protagonist, antagonist, supporting character, anyone. Part 1. The wound. Every fully realized character has something that happened to them. Usually in the past, sometimes just before the story opens, that changed how they see the world. This isn't just tragic backstory. It is the event that created their specific way of being broken. A detective whose sister disappeared when they were 12 doesn't just have a sad past. They have a specific lens through which they see every missing person's case for the rest of their life. That wound shapes every decision they make. Part 2. The lie they believe. The wound creates a false belief. Something the character has decided is true about the world or about themselves, and it isn't. Or it isn't entirely. I can't trust anyone. If I show weakness, I'll be destroyed. I am the only one who can fix this. These lies drive behavior. They make characters make choices that the reader can see are wrong, which creates tension and creates the space for a character arc. Part 3. What they want. The external goal. The thing driving the plot. Solve the murder. Win the case. Get the promotion. Find the person. This is what the story is about on the surface. Part 4. What they need. This is different from what they want. This is what the story is actually about underneath. The detective who wants to solve the case needs to forgive themselves for the thing that happened to their sister. The lawyer who wants to win the trial needs to admit that winning isn't always the same as justice. The entire emotional arc of a novel lives in the gap between want and need. Here is the test. If your character gets exactly what they want at the end of your book, and nothing else changes, your reader will feel strangely empty. Because the thing they were watching wasn't the plot. It was the journey toward what the character needed. Let's make this concrete. Take your main character, whoever you are building right now, or whoever lives in the back of your head waiting to be written. Answer these 4 questions. Write them down. 1. What happened to them that they haven't fully recovered from? Be specific. Not, they had a hard childhood. What happened, when, and who was involved? 2. What false belief did that event create? When die fent. What do they now think is true about people or about themselves that isn't quite right? 3. What do they want in this story? The external, concrete, plot-level goal. 4. What do they actually need? What internal shift? What emotional truth? What relationship repaired or released? What is the thing that would actually make them whole? When you can answer all 4 clearly, you don't have a character description anymore. You have a person. And people are what readers follow through 300 pages. The difference between a character people forget and a character people think about for years isn't talent in the writing. It is depth in the design. Before you write chapter 1, know your character's wound. Know the lie. Know what they want and what they need. Let those 4 things drive every decision they make and every decision they get wrong. Next week we're going into plot structure. Specifically the architecture that almost every successful novel follows, and how to use it without making your story feel like a formula. Subscribe, and I'll see you then.